Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, Chrissy Explains It All. I definitely got a lot of explaining to do. So, as always, if I'm going to explain, I got to explain it all. So, let's go ahead and get into the explanation. Episode 6 of Real Housewives of Potomac. What did you think? I have so many thoughts on this episode. I really enjoyed it. I really did. But let me just slow down for a minute. I mean, it has been a long week for me. So long. I mean, I don't even know what day it is. I mean, it's just been, speaking of week, it's been a long day, period. So, I'm really excited to be talking about this, just to slow down a little bit. And, this is something enjoyable for me. But, speaking of long, let's go ahead and get into the episode. We still sitting at this long dinner table, listening to this long conversation after this long bus ride that we had to Williamsburg, Virginia. We are sitting at the table still, right in between Giselle and Karen and their beef. I mean, you got beef. Come on, let's grill it up and cook it. But come on now. I'm really getting sick of this. We still talking about, this is dragging. We are still talking about Giselle years ago apparently wishing death upon Ray. And I'm be real with you. I'm going to side with Karen any day before I decide to side with Giselle. I mean, really. But come on, Karen, I love you, girl, but you are reaching. You reaching and your arms are way too short. We need to just go ahead and, speaking of death, let's just go ahead and dead this right now. Because that girl did not wish death upon your husband. It was simply a saying. I mean, I didn't take it that way. And I don't know anybody who would take it that way. I mean, if you wish death upon somebody, you wish death upon them. But she was not wishing death upon Ray at all. If you want to be mad with Giselle, just say you mad with Giselle. We mad with Giselle. I mean, just be real about it. But there's so many other things that you can be upset with Giselle about. Giselle has at every turn shaded you. And even sitting at the dinner table now, she's sitting here talking about she want Ray to pay his bills. How about be mad about that? How dare she? I mean, that reminds me of the time that she walked into the event and had on a free Uncle Ben t-shirt talking about tax reform, talking about Ray needed to pay his tax bill or whatever. Come on now, can we be mad about that? There's so many other things. I mean, I could think about all the times that she brought her BFF Erica Lyles around. I mean, trying just to intimidate you, saying that Ray had a crush on her. Let's be mad about something like that. We can't be mad at this comment that Giselle made in the confessional years ago. I mean, let's just kill it. I really don't know how Giselle could sit there and talk about anybody's taxes anyway. I mean, rumor has it that the pastor owes some taxes himself. So he need to be sitting up there trying to tithe, not Uncle Ben, but Uncle Sam. But anyway, moving right along, that kind of wraps up a little bit, and then we get to see a little bit more of the estate. So Candace, of course, planned the trip, so then she says that she's going to show everybody their accommodations. I'm really confused as to how she decided where everyone would be, because it was Candace, Robin, Giselle, and Mia who were in the main home, and then Karen, Escala, and Miss Wendy were put into the small cottage. The girls didn't really seem to have an issue with it, but I felt like maybe Candace should have did a better job of accommodating everyone, because it kind of just seemed like it was like a separate You know how they say separate but equal? Back in the day, the civil rights movement was separate but equal. This is separate but unequal, because it was just not fair. Like, how did you decide where everyone's going to be rooming? But my issue was, I know that for the sake of COVID, there isn't many places to go, and you know, Bravo has kind of been cutting corners as you know it relates to the cash trip, trying to think of places that the ladies can go, you know, drive in driving distance. They're not going, you know, out of the country as they usually would, going to like a nice island or something. So they picked Williamsburg, Virginia, I'm sure because of COVID reasons. However, Giselle made a little comment saying, just kind of picking, and I don't think, and I know that she didn't mean any harm by it, but she kind of told the ladies, she said specifically to Wendy, you know, go ahead to your little servants' quarters. That bothered me, only because I had kind of done a little bit more research on this place that they went, and apparently this Kingsmill or wherever they are staying, this place used to be a plantation. So the cottage that is, you know, a little bit away from the main home, it really was a servant's quarter, or should I say it was a slave's quarter. So colorism has kind of been a thing on this show, on this franchise already. Some people see it, some people don't. It's your opinion. I've seen certain things, but I will say that it bothered me, knowing, because I went back and researched that, it bothered me, Giselle's comment, because she's a light-skinned woman and she's saying to the brown-skinned, darker-skinned woman, Wendy, go ahead to your servants' quarters, which used to be a slave cabin. And these educated women, like, come on now, why didn't anybody address the history of where they were staying? But I digress. Further speaking on the accommodations, I will say that it was very odd for Robin to have basically invited a scholar who is supposed to be her friend. And come on now, let's keep it all the way real. We know that when you are a friend of the show, when someone brings you on, that you necessarily aren't that person's friend, but they just need someone like a bridge to bring you on. So we know Robin and that scholar are not real friends. But if they are real friends, come on, Robin, you just gonna leave your girl and then say, well, I'm happy in the main house and she go to the cottage? That ain't right. And I'm just really wondering why Mia is hanging around the Green Eye Bandits so tight. I really feel like Mia is just trying to get on their good side. She's siding with them every chance she gets. Like, girl, you are riding with the wrong team. But I feel like this is just a ploy to keep Mia away from Karen and to get Mia closer to the Green Eye Bandits. I believe that is the intentions that they have. Meanwhile, back in the DMV, we see Ashley and Michael getting ready for a family photo shoot. It has truly been all about the Darbys and their family unit this season so far. I really feel like those two are doing some damage control, because there has been so many rumors and so many infidelity issues in the past. And this season they are just trying to paint this picture like they are just the perfect family. But anywho, they do this photo shoot, you know, since the new baby arrived. Ashley kind of talks about how the baby had jaundice, and she chose to do the home therapy for the bilirubin. And you know, jaundice is a issue that a lot of babies have. So I understand that. You know, my son actually was jaundice when he was born. So I understand that. So she was just kind of talking about, you know, how difficult it is adjusting and, you know, dealing with everything. She also mentioned to Michael that she was thinking about joining the ladies on the trip just for a day. And I'm just like, you are always trying to go somewhere where you are unwanted and uninvited. she knows it's Candace's trip, but she's still gonna, you know, ruin it anyway and get put out later. So back at the ranch, back at the estate, no, back at the plantation, Robin and Giselle are sitting down to have a chat. And the topic of discussion is Miss Wendy. And I'm sorry, I know that I'm Chrissy Explains It All, but I truly need for someone to explain to me how Giselle can't ever just fix her mouth to talk about anybody. And she's sitting there, you sitting there talking about me, but you wearing the Christmas sweater. What, girl, what you wearing? Anywho, they talk about Wendy, and you know, Robin ain't never got no thought in her head. So anytime it's something, it's always something that Giselle is bringing up. So Giselle brings up Wendy, basically just saying, and we hear about it a little bit more at dinner, but basically just saying how Wendy is different since she's gotten her boob job. Robin says something talking about that she doesn't have substance like she did the year before, which just baffles me. I mean, I'm flabbergasted. It's always the ones who don't have substance themselves talking about somebody else's substance. I mean, really, girl? I mean, your claim to fame is to show. Wendy is pre-Housewives. I mean, Google her. That's some housewife trivia. Who said that?
Google me. Your claim to fame is this show. Honey, I'm pre-Housewives.
So, of course, it's also brought up the rumor that's swirling about Eddie cheating on Wendy. And what is it with Giselle? I mean, this chick is just so thirsty. It's like she thrives on somebody going through some problems, having some issues. As if she ain't been cheated on by Cheetah Pumpkin Eater years ago. But it's like, Robin made the comment and said that she did not believe the rumors to be true. And then after that, then Giselle says, oh, well, I don't believe it either. Really, girl, you want that rumor to be true so bad. I mean, these are just some jealous heifers. They really should think about just changing their little group name from Green Eye Bandits to just Greenwood Envy, because they are just so freaking jealous. You know what I'm saying? The producers kind of edited so that it looked like Wendy was walking in on their conversation. And she, you know, just stood there. Of course, they was hush mouth. They didn't say anything, which I really wonder why they did not bring up the issue there with Wendy. But we all know they rather do it in front of an audience. I mean, I really have so many thoughts just about that period. I mean, just how they're talking about Wendy and just how this rumor is going around, which I feel like Giselle started this rumor herself, because I did not see this rumor on no blogs until this season got started and Giselle was, you know, flapping her gums about it. But I will say that Wendy was on Watch What Happens Live right after the episode, and I really like how she responded, you know, after seeing them talk about her, because it was, you know, one of the questions that was asked about her. And I will say Wendy is my shade queen of the week. Wendy is shade queen of the week because I really enjoy just effortless shade where you don't have to be nasty, you don't have to be spiteful, you don't have to get low down and dirty, you don't have to go under the belt. You just kind of just kill them with the truth. I mean, the good shade is always rooted in truth. And Wendy responded on Watch What Happens Live and basically said that she thought it was funny how people talk about marriages, yet they have never been married successfully. If that ain't shade, I don't know what is. Giselle, divorced. Robin divorced and still living with the man. Y'all ain't, them heifers ain't got no room to be talking about nobody's marriage. So, snaps all day to win day. I mean, really. Shade Queen of the Week. So, the ladies all go to dinner, and let's just say this was just all about Giselle and her mouth running the whole time. She basically tore down like 3 or 4 women during the whole dinner scene. I mean, it started with Candace. Candace was just kind of casually talking about how Chris is managing her. She just made like just the most innocent comment about how she felt her and Chris's roles were reversed because he cooks. And Giselle kind of just went on about the manager thing. And it's kind of like the questions that she asks, it's always just like digging. But you know, Candace don't sweat the small stuff. A scholar asked her a few things as well. I will say, although I don't feel like Giselle should have been saying anything. But I will say that Candace, girl, you might better be careful with that. But you did have your point about how you trust Chris. So that's good. But still, you know, that did not work out for Tamar and Vince. And Tamar can really sing. She was a real singer. So, Giselle just moves right on down the line, right on down the table. Her next victim at this shade feast is none other than her best friend, her bestie, Robin. Robin had kind of, you know, decided to, you know, share and piggyback a little bit off of Candace, saying that, you know, her and Juan were kind of having issues, small issues, just because she, you know, has found it difficult to be motivated, how she's getting up at maybe like 2 o'clock in the day. And Giselle kind of just goes in. I mean, she just questioning Robin. You need to do this. You need to do that. A scholar kind of takes a different approach to it. And I will say a scholar is a better friend. Because she kind of took a different approach and says, well, Robin, it sounds like what you were describing is depression. And I went through, you know, something similar. And Robin says, yeah, it's definitely seasonal depression. And she says with her personality, she's not someone who, you know, likes structure. But she knows that she needs to get out of her funk. She just, you know, said that Juan was finding it unattractive. But, you know, Giselle had to put her little 2 cents in. Next, sitting across from the table is Wendy and her boobs and her ensemble. You know that the boobs were kind of squeezed up. She had on like a little bustier, I would say. Very sexy. I mean, she had the girl sitting up high. But Giselle kind of just moves on to Wendy and attacks her. And then we get more into the conversation that she and Robin were having earlier. And the thing about Robin and Giselle, it must be great to have a sidekick. Because Giselle just opens her mouth and then Robin just immediately has to back up what Giselle says. So Wendy is looking crazy because she's like, what's the issue? But Giselle just kind of goes in again on her and says, you know, it's something different about you. I can't put my finger on it. You know, your personality is different. And I've seen so much of your body. I've seen more of your body in the past month than I have in the entire year that I've known you. So Wendy is kind of taken aback by it. And I would say, looked like she was kind of hurt by it. You know, Robin said her little 2 cents about it. And Mia decided to chime in a little bit, talking about, you don't see Michelle Obama with her boobies out. You don't see Oprah with her boobies out. Girl, shut up and stop trying to ride the Giselle and Robin train. Get off of that train. I'm going to say it again. You are riding with the wrong team. I mean, just stop. But just to go off what she says, like, Come on now. Michelle Obama got so much flack for wearing those one-shoulder dresses, for wearing those off-the-shoulder dresses. Michelle Obama was sexy. She was not the traditional first lady. I mean, come on. Our first lady, our forever first lady, had style. And, you know, she got flack for it the same way you're giving Wendy flack for her dressing of, you know, her change in dress. And, you know, Wendy just kind of defended herself, and she said, you know, that when she came on the show, when she met the lady, she was 2 months postpartum. She was not feeling like herself. She got a boob job, and, you know, she feels different. She kind of has a new confidence about herself. Not to say that she wasn't confident before, but she can have multiple sides of herself. It's okay for her to be Wendy the Professor, and then it's okay for her to want to be sexy and twerk. Giselle made a comment saying, Wendy, you were sexy before. And I absolutely love what Wendy says. And I know that this was kind of going around on Twitter, on Instagram, on all the social media platforms. Wendy, quote, said, I define my sexiness, not you. And that's so true. That goes for all of us women. Like, real talk. Who is Giselle to say what's sexy? She don't know sexy. She wouldn't know sexy if sexy hit her in the face. Candace's confessional was hilarious. Calling Robin and Giselle twiddle and twaddle and saying that they need to worry about their own areolas. I mean, for real, girl. We need to put that on a t-shirt. Worry about your own areolas. That is so true. So after Giselle has gotten finished just tearing everybody down, you know, Ascala kind of switches it up, which I love Ascala for, because she basically, while Wendy was talking and saying her piece, I could see Ascala was nodding her head in agreement and basically, you know, having her back about it. You know what I'm saying? But Ascala kind of, you know, switched the tables on Giselle and was like, okay, girl, let's talk about you. So she just asked her politely, well, you know, what's going on in your love life? What's up with you in your relationship? To which Miss Giselle want to comment and say that she will be happy to discuss it with her, but not in front of trolls. Which I guess she talking about Karen. Girl, Karen could care less about you. But you know, that is just to deflect, because she does not want to talk about the pastor and she don't want her lies exposed on TV. So then from there, Karen and Giselle, they kind of get into it again, and we right back where we started. Karen and Giselle fight. I mean, just going in a circle. So that kind of just wraps up the night. Everyone heads back to their accommodations at the plantation, and then we get a scene with Robin and Giselle, and Robin is kind of questioning Giselle, or saying that she's sure that Wendy is in her head and thinking about what they said. Really? Was that your intentions, to be in somebody's head? Girl, sit your behind down. But to go along with that, opposite of the scene with Giselle and Robin speaking, we get a scene with Karen and Wendy. And I have to say, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I really like these two getting along. Karen is such a loving person. Like, she really can be that big sister, that auntie, that figure, that mama figure that you need, you know, when you need it. She gives great advice, I think Karen does, and she really, you know, is a classy lady. So, you know, Wendy and Karen, they come down the stairs of their cottage and they strutting their stuff. Both of them look beautiful, very good. Karen had this old nasty thigh-high boot that I loved. It was a little sparkly gold, just how I like it. So they sat down on the chair and they had a discussion, and Karen just wanted to know where Wendy where she was with her thoughts, because she had kind of toned her outfit down for the day. So Karen said, you know, just to be frank, I see that you toned down a little bit today, and let me just say, if you tone down for Giselle, you know, go change. If you dressing for her, go F and change. I mean, just to keep it straight up 100. And Wendy was very vulnerable, and she admitted that it had kind of gotten to her, that she felt hurt because she looked at Giselle as a friend, and for her to come at her that way, or to, you know, think any less of her because of the way she was dressing, it was hurtful. So that was pretty much the episode. That wraps everything up. I will say that I really enjoyed this episode, although I thought it was going to be, we were going to get something a little bit different, you know, based on the clip we saw at the end of the show last week. Because they showed, you know, that Ashley and her messy self was coming. But I guess we're going to see that next week. But I still really did like the episode. I definitely think there is so much that we can, you know, as viewers take away from this episode, because I have to say I am so proud of Wendy with how she just stood up for herself and said, you know, yes, I've had a boob job, yes, I'm feeling myself, yes, I can be a professor, and yes, I can twerk at the same time. And you know, that's okay. It's okay. We all wear different hats. We all, you know, switch up. Code switching. Keep it real. I'm one way when I'm at work. I'm another way when I'm in the streets. And when I get home, I'm totally somebody different. You know what I'm saying? And who gonna check me about it? I mean, come on now. We all show what we want to show. We all have different sides of our personality. You're not going to know one person completely. So Giselle and Robin can just hush. I mean, I really stand for Wendy. I mean, she was just very open, very honest. She talked about how, you know, she was postpartum when she came on the show, which that's enough in itself. That is a whole monster in itself, to be postpartum and deal with postpartum depression. But to come onto a show like The Real Housewives, you know, that is, I can't imagine. Because I would imagine coming on a show, your first season would be very difficult. Because, you know, us as Housewives fans, we are ruthless. I mean, the fandom is something else. We either like you, we either love you, we hate you. So, you know, it's kind of like, if it was me, I would imagine I would be like, well, what role should I play? Should I be myself? Is myself good enough? Or should I hold back some things? And, you know, that could have just been what was in Wendy's head, and we didn't get the full Wendy. And that's all right. I mean, how many housewives in the history of Housewives and the different franchises have we seen who have been one-hit wonders, who come on for one season and they don't do good? I mean, come on now. She's back for her second season. Yeah, we were mad last year when she was talking about her 4 degrees. We're going to be mad this year because she's talking about her boobs and her new love for herself. Come on now. Leave my girl alone. So that's all for now. Definitely remember to drop down in the comments and let me know what you thought about this week's episode. Let me know if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you was in between. What did you think about the situation between Giselle and Wendy and Robin the sidekick? Let's talk about it. So anyway, until next time, don't do anything you're going to have to explain, because you know your girl Chrissy explains it all. Peace. You want to be in... You want to be in my video so bad. You want to be in my video so bad. Say peace. Peace, not cheese. Peace.